Welcome back into another edition of the Arrowhead Pride Rapid Reaction Show. I am Steven Serda, joined as always by my guy Rocky Magaña, Kramer Sansone in the background, helping us make sure this thing stays afloat. The Kansas City Chiefs take down the New England Patriots 27-17, snapping a 2-game losing streak for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I guess it's a win, Rocky. Not a lot of exciting things to take out of this contest on Sunday. That's a 3-win New England Patriots football team. You won the game. You took care of business. So I guess that's something to feel good about, but not a ton in this game. And I'll be totally honest with you guys. I don't even really want to spend a bunch of time breaking down this game. If we go for 15 to 20 minutes, I think we did our job here on this Sunday, because even in a win, and the Chiefs get back into the win column in this one, obviously you got to run the table to give yourself a chance at the AFC playoff bye, but nothing in this game that made you feel really good about this team moving forward. I don't think, Rocky. There was some highlights and some positives that we'll get into here, but again, I think this could have been a much more frustrating game if you were going against a team that had any kind of talent. That's really all this boils down to, is the New England Patriots are just that bad of a football team.
Well, this offense is going to drive me to drink Serda. And I mean, you have no confidence in this offense. Like your confidence level in this offense is not any higher after this game than it was heading into it after last week. You beat the New England Patriots by 10 points. Okay, good. You won a cookie. Why? Because Kadarius Toney still made another stupid mistake today that cost the team a possession in a crucial drive. You had back-to-back fumbles. The offense is still mistake-ridden and penalty-ridden. Mahomes had another interception in the game as well. You can't stop shooting yourself in the foot on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah, you beat a 3-win New England Patriots team that is horrible. That is the worst team in the NFL. They are arguably worse than the Carolina Panthers, and you let them back in the game in the second half, essentially, by only winning by 10 points. You don't feel any better in this game coming out of this game than you did going into it. Are you kidding me? This offense is broken. It's not this offense is going through a rough patch, or this offense is still trying to figure it out. This offense is sloppy and it's broken. This is a broken and sloppy offense, and it's not getting better this season. Toney needs to be off the team. MVS needs to be off the team. Sky Moore needs to be off the team. I know that the stars of this offense, I have so much respect. I have so much respect for Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and the guys who have been there and done it on this offense. And they are sticking up for their teammates because they're good teammates. And I know Kelce said this week in his podcast, we have the guys we need. You don't. You don't have the guys you need. I'm sorry. You want to be a good teammate. I get it. Respect, bro. But you don't have the guys you need on this offense.
So, normally, and I really think it kind of speaks to where Chiefs fans are right now and how they feel about this team. Because normally, we get on here after a Chiefs win and the comment sections lighten up, and yelling at us for being negative in a win. And it's actually not like that today, which is actually really surprising, because I told you before the show started, I'm not going to get on here and be nice today. That wasn't a fun game to watch. There was nothing that came out of that game that made me think any differently about this team than what I thought about them all last week, what I thought about them on this losing streak where they've lost 4 out of 6 games. Yeah, you should go into New England and beat that team. That's a 3-win football team that does not put up points against anybody. And I understand they upset the Pittsburgh Steelers last week, but that is a bad football team. They are not in the same class as the Kansas City Chiefs. And I would like to focus on a few of the positives today. But again, this was something that we talked about last week, the quality of competition they have here to end the season, just depending on really what you want to focus on and what you want to look at, it's going to be hard for them to do anything here over this final stretch that makes me believe, like, yes, this team is ready to go into the playoffs and go on the road, Rocky, for the first time in the Mahomes era, and win multiple playoff games to try to get back to a Super Bowl. Like, it just doesn't seem like it's there. There's no answers for the offensive struggles. And I think today, like, even in a game where they put up 27 points, they didn't do anything so impressive offensively today that I feel like, oh, they like figured something out. They added a new wrinkle or something, or Andy's trying this out. Like, it was Mahomes made some really special plays, which has been very frustrating for him, especially because I think he has still been playing well. But these pass catchers on a weekly basis continue to let him down. Kadarius Toney being the number one violator of that. And it just, nothing about this game impressed me. Like, Rashee Rice, he's finally the wide receiver one on the team, Rocky. We're in week 15. It only took till the last couple of weeks for him to finally be playing a full-on wide receiver one's share of the snaps. And he looks great again. He has another big game, has 9 catches, 91 yards, and a touchdown. Like, he is the best playmaker that they have on the offensive side of the ball right now. And I think you could make that case, even included Travis Kelce, who had a couple of weird plays today, and then also banged up his left elbow and left the game for a minute. And, kind of looked like he was wincing. Hopefully it's nothing serious we need to worry about moving forward here. But there's just nothing on the offensive side of the ball that we can really hang our hat on, other than Rashee Rice looks like he is a playmaker for them moving forward. And Patrick Mahomes is going to keep giving you opportunities to win these games because Patrick Mahomes is that special of a kind of player. But everybody else lets you down every week, every single week. Like, there's just not, I think if you came out of that Patriots game and you said, like, we're back in the win column, everything's working for this team again, I don't think you were really watching it. And I think you just had your fan blinders on, because they didn't do anything overly impressive in this game. Like, they didn't do anything to make me feel any better about them moving forward.
No, I wrote on the website before this game, the Chiefs needed to win this game by 21 plus points to have any sort of like feel good story. And they had an opportunity to do that. And they went out and they created another costly mistake, and they had another costly turnover. And like, if you moved on from Kadarius Toney tomorrow, if you moved on from Sky Moore tomorrow, if you moved on from MVS tomorrow, you said these guys are all sunk cost. What's the change in the offense if you put Cornell Powell in there instead? If you sign a guy
Justin
off
Ross
the
is back.
street, if you
available.
bring Justin Ross in, if you sign a guy off another team's practice squad who has some upside, if you go get a Jarvis Landry off the couch even tomorrow, like what, like are we really any worse of an offense with those 3 guys removed? No, like, we just need guys who aren't going to shoot us in the foot. Like, you don't even got to be like playmakers. Don't hurt the team. Like, it's as simple as that. You're wasting a Mahomes prime season with guys who are consistently hurting the team. And you saw Mahomes frustrated on the bench after that Toney turnover. And publicly, he's going to say, oh, yeah, we trust Toney. We're going to go back to Toney. Watch him on the sideline after that play. He doesn't trust Toney. He's like, he's frustrated.
I don't want to see him on the field anymore. I don't want to see
Tony's attention, lack of attention to detail, his lackadaisical attitude towards the sport of football. Like, are you kidding me? You said in your press conference, really, you said in your press conference this week, like when somebody interviewed you in the locker room, that you didn't know the penalty was on you until you got home last week? BS. You knew the penalty was on you. You're playing dumb because you don't want to take any accountability for the lack of focus that you have in the game and the lack of care that you put into this sport. Like, are you kidding me? That is the most BS thing I've ever heard. And then you follow it up with that trash out there today. Like, bro, get off of the team. Like, you have no business being on this football team. And I'm sorry. I know that I'm like people are going to say, oh, bro, you don't know what they put into it, bro. You don't know, blah, blah, blah. I know that he's not putting enough into it, bro. That's what I know.
Oh, and it's just again, like they had plenty of mistakes today. It just didn't shoot them in the foot the way that it has in weeks past because they're lucky that it was against a team like the Patriots. Like that's really what it comes down to. Sky Moore got bailed out. He had a brutal fumble that thankfully there was a penalty called on the New England Patriots, so it nullified the fumble, but brutal. And Sky's snaps have been dropping and dropping. MVS does absolutely nothing today, which is typical. Like, and and we saw a couple of weeks ago, MVS just refusal to take accountability and all of this stuff. Like, it's unreal that none of the wide receivers seem to acknowledge that they're legitimately the reason that this team is floundering at this point in the
Why
year.
would they?
They're legitimately the reason that this team is being held back right now. And it is really frustrating. Like, I want to see Rashee Rice playing 95% of the snaps moving forward. Travis Kelce playing as many snaps as you can get him out there on the field for. And then I want to see Justin Watson had a nice big play today, had a few targets. Like, Justin Watson's at least reliable for a couple of those big plays a game. That's supposed to be MVS's thing, but Watson's clearly the more reliable player there. And Richie James is at least like a more reliable, functional player. Like, I want to see more Richie James out there. I'm tired of the Kadarius Toney experiment. It's pretty clear that he's not taking this thing seriously enough. And Rocky, I'm the kind of person that, like, I generally don't like to openly criticize these players because it is tough to see what is going on behind the scenes sometimes. But we're seeing it week after week in eye of the public that these guys aren't taking this seriously enough. And you can see the frustration in Mahomes. You mentioned him on that bench. Like, you could see how upset he was because it's just yet another play, and against a good team, that's the type of play that loses you a football game. Like, thankfully, they were playing a 3-win football team on Sunday. It's just week after week after week, and you're going to get into the playoffs, and you're going to keep trotting these guys out there, and that's exactly how you lose in the first round of the NFL postseason. Like, because in a key moment of the game, you have a critical mistake, and the Chiefs are elite at having critical mistakes in key moments of the game this season. It's incredibly frustrating to watch. I want to talk about the Blake Bell interception. First off, Andy, I don't know why Blake Bell's on the field. I mean, Noah Gray has at least shown that he can give you something and make some plays. And obviously, Travis Kelce's a Hall of Fame player. Blake Bell has been bad for a long time. He's got no business being out there. And I understand, like, maybe Mahomes shouldn't have thrown that ball. But Blake Bell just sits on the route and sits there and waits for the football to come to him instead of moving towards the ball, which allows the linebacker to close and make an interception. Why is Blake Bell getting any opportunities in the offense at all? Like, I just don't understand the personnel decisions from this team this season. I understand it's a lack of guys, and I think that in years past, having Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce just covered up a lot of those issues that would have been really frustrating if they didn't have two Hall of Fame players on this offense catching passes from Patrick Mahomes. But it's just week after week with this stuff. This team continues again to turn the ball over on offense. We're still only at 2 games this season, Rocky. 15 weeks into the year. We got 2 entire football games they have made it through without turning the football over on offense this year. Like, it's just unacceptable. It's insane that this is still something that we're talking about and still something that hasn't been fixed in any way. Like, I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of watching this team and being so frustrated by how they perform every week.
This is the most exhausting Chiefs team we've had in the Patrick Mahomes era. And why would they play better? Why would they play cleaner offense? Why would they not turn the ball over when there's zero accountability from the offensive coaching staff? You had Matt Nagy in a press conference this week saying, when being directly asked, what is the accountability for your offensive players? And he says, whoa, we talked to them about it. And then we asked them to catch more passes. And then we trust that they're going to improve upon their mistakes. And then that's our accountability for when we ask them to be accountable. Like, what? What does that even mean? Like, no. Like, the guy lines up off sides and costs the team a game and then has no accountability for it. then you get him out there on the field and you work with him about lining up off sides. The guy has problems with drops. You put him on the jugs and you have him catch 150 balls with no drops. The guy doesn't line up right, doesn't know the playbook, doesn't know how to run the right routes. Then you put him on the sideline until he learns the routes. Like you got to hold these guys accountable. And I'm sorry, I know Matt Nagy is Andy Reid's guy, and I have so much respect for Andy Reid, so much respect for Andy Reid as a coach. But he is too nice of a guy. And we saw the Matt Nagy experience in Chicago, and it was a flipping train wreck of sloppiness. And we're seeing it now on our offense. Anything you put in Matt Nagy's hands is going to be nice guide into the gutter. And that's exactly what's happening. And I'm sorry, Matt Nagy may know X's and O's and he may know football, but he does not know motivation. He does not know how to hold people accountable. And this team is suffering because of it. We are going to make the playoffs and go 1-out. We are not a Super Bowl caliber team this year. And part of it is because we have zero accountability on the offensive side of the ball.
I don't doubt that the Chiefs could benefit from some coaching staff shakeup this offseason. I don't think it's going to happen because we know Andy Reid is too loyal to the people that he hires and the people that he brings in to coach his football players. But I think there also is going to be the thought process is we whiffed on the wide receiver group last year. So this offseason, we have to just totally retool that room. We've got somebody to build around in Rashee Rice, but they're going to tell themselves, if we can retool the entire wide receiver room, we're right there. Wanye Morris had another decent performance today, had some really nice reps in this game. And that seems like that's a huge win for the Chiefs. If he can lock up that left tackle position moving forward for them, massive win. You got a rookie mid-round draft pick who's coming in and giving you valuable starter snaps and playing probably better than the upside that Donovan Smith has shown this season. So that's great. Huge win. Rashee Rice looks like a playmaker for you. Like your draft class looks like it's pretty solid. And what they're going to tell themselves is that if we can retool this entire wide receiver room this offseason, we'll be right back in the mix. And they're probably right, Rocky, but it just goes back to something that we've talked about all season, is that the biggest frustration that I have with that is that means if they don't win a Super Bowl this year, it's just going to totally waste this defense. And this defense is going to look different next year. And there's going to be some tough decisions made. And we can get to the defense before we get out of here because I'm over it. I want to get on with my day, Rocky. I don't want to keep talking about this bad football game, but the defense started slow. Again, another thing concerning that Bailey Zappi was actually like cooking them over the middle of the field on the first couple of Patriots possessions today. Once they settled down and they started making plays, the secondary started coming up big and actually slowing the Patriots offense and all of that stuff. So they settled in, made some plays when they needed to, and the pass rush started to get home. Chris Jones finally gets back in the sack column. Charles Omenihu, Drew Tranquil, like got some pressure today. Like they looked pretty good. And I think Tranquil coming back from the injury and Bolton still working back into the mix. Willie Gay had an interception today. Like overall, defense still did fine despite another slow start from those guys. But overall, still think the defense is a championship caliber defense. But it just feels like this opportunity this season with this defense where if you just had a more competent offense on a weekly basis, this defense would really give you a chance to win a Super Bowl. But the offense is so much further behind the defense that it just feels like we're really missing out on the best defensive season of the Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid time here in Kansas City. And that's something that I think is going to be really regretful for Chiefs fans after this season. If this team does not wind up going on some kind of insane run and winning a Super Bowl, that's the thing that I think is going to bother me the most about this year, is what a wasted opportunity it was with this caliber of defense this year.
100%. And like, here's the thing is that there's no real answers on offense. Like what are the, like, if not these train wreck of human beings who are receivers on offense, then who? Right? Cornell Powell, Justin Ross, who else? Some guy on some practice squad guys. But here's the deal: all you have to do, really, is just not shoot yourself in the foot and turn the ball over. Like, really, just find some guys who aren't going to put the ball on the ground. Like, you don't with this defense, you don't have to score 35 points a game anymore to win football games. You just have to play smart football. And this offense is just so unintelligent and sloppy. Like, that's the whole thing. And like, there's like the blame game for this offense goes across the gamut. It's on the players, it's on the coaching staff, it's on Andy Reid, it's on Brett Veach for trying to convince everybody that Kadarius Toney was a wide receiver one to accept that, even though he knew that Kadarius Toney wasn't a wide receiver one. Let's be honest. And to fix it in the offseason, he's going to have to do a whole retool like he did with the offensive line after the Chiefs got blown out in the Super Bowl against the Buccaneers. They're going to do the exact same thing with the receiving core. They're going to go out. They're going to spend money on a veteran. They're going to draft 2 wide receivers. They're going to draft a tight end, and it's going to be overhauled. And that's great for future Chiefs fans, for future us. Me and you in 2024 might be a lot happier than we are right now. But that doesn't do anything for us over the next month and a half, Steven. Over the next month and a half, we're going to watch a bad offense crap away the best defense that this Chiefs team has ever had. And it sucks. It sucks to watch. It's disheartening. And yeah, they let Bailey Zappi look like he was cooking for a while because this defense came out slow. But it sucks to think that you have the best quarterback possibly in the history of football, and you're relying on your defense to play perfect every single week. Like, that sucks. That sucks to have that quality of a quarterback and just to sit there and rely on your defense every single week and know that he doesn't have the tools or the players to bail you out if need be, because he's going to throw the ball to him and they're going to fumble it, or they're going to put the ball on the ground, or Jawan Taylor's going to get an ill-timed penalty. And guess what, Chiefs Kingdom? We're locked into Jawan Taylor for 4 years for $80 million. Like, we don't have an easy out for Jawan Taylor. He's going to be our right tackle again next year. Like, that was a bad signing by Brett Veach. And I know that his back was against the wall. We didn't have any tackles. He had to make a move. He had to pay above market value because it was because of free agency. Blah, 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 blah. I don't care. Listen, your job is to put together a good roster that's going to be a Super Bowl contender around Patrick Mahomes. And we are nearing the back 3 quarters of the season here. We're in the back 3 quarters of the season, and we have a right tackle that can't stop shooting this team in the foot continually all season long. Gets stupid penalties. Can't actually move fast enough to get out onto the wing and actually put a block on a guy on a screen pass as the play is designed. Like why? Why are we paying this guy that much money? That was a bad signing. It's just unacceptable.
Listen, Chiefs win. Cool. They get back in the win column after a devastating few weeks and losing 4 out of 6 games. That's big. But I refuse anymore to get on here and just be like, let's focus on the positive things. Like, right now, this isn't a Super Bowl caliber team, Rocky. And against a better football team today, I think they totally would have lost that game again. The Patriots are just that bad. Like, I think if they were playing an actual quality opponent today, I think that they easily could have lost again with that kind of effort and with the mistakes on offense and just the penalties, turnovers, whatever. And they're hosting the Las Vegas Raiders on Christmas Day, and then they've got the Cincinnati Bengals and the Chargers. Like, it's all still there for them to run the table and potentially be in play for the first round playoff bye. Cincinnati is really still playing well with Jake Browning, though. That game could be a bigger problem than we thought a few weeks ago, but it's all still on the table for them to do that. And obviously, I would prefer that they do that. That would be great if they can run the table and put themselves in a position to possibly get a playoff bye. But that they just this late into the season, they definitively, we know exactly who they are at this point, and this is who they are, and it just feels like it's leading to a really frustrating playoff exit because they can't get out of their own way this season. And so if you came here for positivity, you picked the wrong show today, because I don't think if you watch the Chiefs and you expect and like you have expectations for them on a weekly basis, I don't think you can reasonably come out of that game feeling good about this team, even in a win. Not with all the mistakes that they continue to make. And again against a more quality opponent, I think they easily could have lost with that kind of performance today, because that's just the way that it's been going for them this season. So it's a rough game. If you're listening to us on the podcast page, make sure you stick around after the commercial break. We'll have all the post-game press conferences available for you on this one. As always, please make sure you subscribe, rate, and review everything that we're doing right here on the Arrowhead Pride Podcast Network. You can follow Rocky on Twitter at Rocky Magaña. I'm Steven Serda, where you can find me. You can follow Kramer at Kramer Talks. We've got a Christmas game against the Las Vegas Raiders coming up next week, so we'll have plenty to talk about as we preview that big game. So make sure you stay locked into arrowheadpride.com, and make sure you stay locked into the Arrowhead Pride Podcast Network. We'll talk to you guys later this week.